In this video we're going to upgrade my Land Rover to a GPS speedometer. Stick around and see how I do it. So, why am I going all modern and fitting a GPS speedometer to my Defender? The old one works perfectly well, so why bother? Well, I'm still obsessed with my test bench for transmissions and gearboxes, transfer cases, and I inadvertently sold 2 speedometers in my Sunday sort out, which I realised that now I need. And the reason is they're cable driven, so I can actually put them straight into the transfer case and see how many kilometres per hour these gearboxes do, these transfer boxes do, and with an odometer I can say, look, I've run them up for 100 kilometres or so before they go out. So that's the reason why. However, a new speedometer is $400, kind of expensive. So Bill said he had one and he sent it to me, but unfortunately somebody had been into it and buggered it up and it wouldn't work, so that was no good. So I came across the bright idea of taking the speedometer out of here and buying a GPS one for my truck here, because I don't use it all that much anyway, but I thought it'd be an interesting little project to do. Now the problem is they're not the right size. There's a binnacle and there's a speedometer. It's like a pea in a drum. So we need an adapter, but you can't buy one, but you can make one. Because I've just been down the hardware shop and I found just the perfect thing. This is a piece of ABS plastic piping, an adapter 4" to 3". This is going to be perfect because it's got a nice thick webbing here. So if we turn this down here and turn this here, well, I say we, JP, we can make a nice tight fitting adapter into here, and with a bit of luck we might get away with just gluing it. I'm not sure what this plastic is, if it's ABS or what, but if it's ABS we can use ABS cement that you use for plumbing, glue it in, it'll be great. So let's jump in the car and let's go down and see JP. He's probably been annoyed already by all my projects, but what's another one? The thing is, these are relatively cheap, and if it works it's going to be great, because then I can change out all the, looks like a robber. I can change out all the dials for these moderner type, and maybe try to get the fuel gauge and other bits and pieces working with different vehicles. I don't know, it's all new, it's exciting. But the other thing is as well, I've just sort of realised this is a right-hand drive binnacle. We take them out and throw them away usually because either they're broken, the little tabs are broken. This one's absolutely perfect. But you can't use a right-hand drive binnacle in a left-hand drive car. Why? Because of the speedo cable. If you put it in the car, the original speedo cable would come out here, and you've got to bend it like an S. It's either not long enough or there's too many kinks in it and it doesn't work. So that's the reason. So I'm off to see JP. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? So this is the middle of the afternoon. JP couldn't do the job while I waited because he had other customers' jobs to do. But anyway, I just went back because I just wanted to borrow a tap, a special tap, to do a thread. And he said, oh, we'll do that job right now. And he did. Do you want to have a look at it? There you go. That's using that piece of pipe. So let me stop the camera and let's take this to bits and show you how he did it. Right, so he actually used that piece of pipe that I found, and it was almost perfect. So there's the ring that goes inside the dash, and you can see it's got a little bit of a step on it. But that wasn't important. This was the middle piece out of that tube. In fact, these are the only 2 bits of that piece of pipe I'll show you that exist anymore. And then for the back, this was a really tricky bit to machine. You made a little ring and you see it's got a recess. Well, let me put this together and I'll show you why. And why was it difficult to machine? because that ABS plastic, when it gets warm through friction and turning, it goes like that, you know what I mean? Like a big girl. So it tends to pick up and throw itself out the chuck of the lathe. Anyway, let me show you how it goes together. Now remember, this is a right-hand drive panel, but it doesn't matter, the pieces are still the same. So there's the piece with the little recess on. And it's a nice push fit into the existing panel. Then you get your gauge or your speedometer. You put it through there like that. Now bear this in mind, because we didn't realise this. The thread diameter isn't the same as the actual piece here. There's a step just here, just behind the bezel. And then this piece locks in at the back here. So this ring has somewhere to fasten to. So we didn't have to buy anything. The thing was that piece of plastic was really, really cheap. You know, it just takes time machining. So, without further ado, let's get on and do this. Now, one thing I did read in the instructions was where you're going to put the GPS sensor. It's very important. Modern day cars like these ones here, the old favourite Yaris, best car in the world, the windscreen is at an angle, where these are almost tilted flat. So I'm thinking about putting it right in this bottom corner. I had a chat with JP about this, because it says that you shouldn't mount them vertical, neither should you mount them in the roof, they won't work properly. I don't know why, but they said the better the angle towards horizontal, the better. Yeah, I don't want to put it in this top corner, because you see it's all shaded by this tube, so I'm going to put it in this bottom corner. Now, could I put it in the sunroof, the sensor? Well, I could, but it ain't going to work in winter, is it? I'm going to have to clean all that snow off. Whereas here, I like that, look. I could go like that. No effort. Right, we've all done this before, many times. I've taken the steering wheel off for clarity. So all we need to do is undo these 4 screws, if they're still in. So all we've got to do is take out the 2 remaining screws. Joking it. Pull out the speedo, take off the wires for the connections for your gauges, and then the tricky bit is to get the speedo cable off. Oh God, it's about 93% humidity today. It is so hot and sticky. You can almost guarantee the bloody thing won't come off. It's off, it's off. Right, where else do we have to take off? Got that off. Got that off. There's a voluntary one come off here. Oh, that's off me. Tap on it. You should really disconnect your battery, which I can do from under my seat, because I've got a switch here. And then disconnect any wires that you've got. They should all be on multi-plugs if it's standard. And there you go. Now the only difference is I've got here a little light to tell me if it's left or right, because sometimes I can't tell if the ignition's on when the flash is on, whether these are working, because I can't see it for the steering wheel. But because this speedometer has got a left and right in the gauge, I can see it now, so I can do away with that and put the push button in there to reset the tachometer. Well, this madness never ends. And there's also a little light in here for the high beam, so we can get rid of that. Now we can take that gauge out, that speedometer, and then we can use that on our good gauge. Now here's the interesting bit. Gonna get our bits. Because the plastic's broken, we won't do it. It won't sandwich it because the plastic's broken. It will sort of. Well, that's a bummer, because it just drops out. Oh, crap. Just Land Rover's just crap. So, you're going to say to yourself, why didn't you make the backing ring a bit wider? Well, we didn't have any material. But we have a cunning plan, don't worry. We have glue. So we're going to use some ABS cement. But I'm not using the proper brush, I'm using a smaller brush. And if this sticks it, this would be brilliant. It's stuck like feces to a hairy blanket. What a treat! That is brilliant! There's something we didn't know yesterday. So we don't need to make that locking ring. And also the thing is that these speedometers are incredibly light. So you haven't got that big massive weight cracking the gauges. Now wait a minute, let's get this square. So now better get down to just some wiring. Now this is going to be really easy, because we've got a left and a right feed here from that bulb I went to. Also, where am I going to, oh yeah, I'm going to put the push button just here. Let's go and get it. Right, a little bit of brake cleaner. Clean up that bottom corner. There. Right, let's tidy these wires up. And we had a little clip here, a little piece of wire. So we're going to make sure that that's going to go across to the gauge. And we're going to start wrapping it up from there. Like I said, don't cut the cable. Hey presto, look, there's the little button for the trip meter. It's in a perfect place, look at that. Excellent. So, the next thing is we've got to do some wiring. Now, I was going to get the soldering iron out, but it looks like it's going to pour down. And I'm really excited and pumped to get this done. Well, looks like it's going to pour down. So, electricity and water doesn't go together so far. So we'll just call it a day here, and then we'll come back to this tomorrow and we'll finish off doing the wiring. But that glue's dried really nice on there. I'm really pleased about that. And then, like I say, we'll come back and do it tomorrow. What a disappointment. Oh, never mind. See you later.